we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 112, The Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So, man, a lot of weirdness going on, as you might be able to hear. I'm recording on back at the pad, a little microphone setup that I had stashed away. I have a few different permutations, man, but it's always hard to see what's going to be the hot cock and what's going to suck, and who can ever tell, and what's going to give you like maximum feedback. That's what I think we're in it for here, is maximum feedback and mic popping and what have you. So I think this week, man, I wanted to hit on some of the weirdness going on, and I mean, it's not any major one thing out there that's really going on, I don't think, but there is enough stuff going on where I think some of the stuff we've seen lately is people just looking at it and scratching their heads and not completely sure what to make of it. And they kind of stemming from that, I want to hit again on somebody had posted in the chat something with that fucking Scott Payne fucking FBI guy. And I guess that guy is just, I want to say making the book tours, but this guy's been shilling his ass off apparently because somebody had posted something in the chat, a little clip of this guy, and I kind of recognized, like when you tell a story the same way, like you got a story about the time you got fucking pulled over or whatever, man, some girl who didn't show up for prom or whatever the fuck, and you got this story, and like the memorable parts of it you tell the same way. Where you're like, yeah, I opened the door and there she is, like just passed out shit-faced with a bottle of Cuervo in one hand. And, so you got this way that you say it. So this guy is like the same fucking way. And I had noticed it because somebody had posted a piece of an interview in the chat and he's talking it up the same way, the same verbiage as he was on that Joe Rogan episode that somebody had, Joe Hogan for, I can't remember who, Lord Marcus maybe, whoever it is, breaking my nuts about my technical unsavviness. But the dude was on there and he's telling the same stories the same fucking way, and I'm like, I wonder if this guy's got any fucking meat to him, man. If this guy's got any other tricks in the bag, like, do you bring anything to the fucking table? And there was. I want to save it, man. I want to hang on to it and savor it. It's a little bit funny. It's a little bit on the pathetic side, but it is a little bit revealing, and it's, well, I'll tell you, man. I'll tell you when we get to it. So straight away, some of this shit going on is, here's a classic piece of work. Trump, your President Trump that we all hopped up and down and wore red hats for, has named Chabad Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan as the State Department's special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. So let's take a look at this fucking asshole. So I don't know anything about this guy specifically. I mean, if it's like if you went down the rabbit hole on the guy, no doubt there's something shady, and he's obviously, there's no question this guy's going to be one person removed from a convicted pedophile. I have no doubt. But he is a Chabad guy, Chabad Lubavitch. So this is your ultra-Zionist, ultra-pro-Israel people that are going to push unabashedly in your government, in your country. They're going to walk in here and they're going to push their asses off to get their interests out there in front at your direct expense. So, yeah, sorry, Goy, there's not quite enough money to help you out, help you with, help your kids not get stabbed at fucking school or something, right? That's not what we do here. We need to focus on this. Focus on anti-Semitism. So to kind of, how can you say, draw a little or put a little light on this, it bears repeating that the Jewish population in the U.S. is 2% or less. That's a very fucking small percentage of this country. Now compare that to something like, say, Hispanics, right? So you've got all different variety of Hispanics in this country. You've got the primarily Mexico Hispanics that are, I want to say it's 50-something% in California, definitely the majority. You've got your, I don't know, what do you call it, like Ranchero type Hispanics in Texas. You've got all your different flavors of Hispanics throughout places like Florida, right? Like Cubans and Puerto Ricans and what have you. And then all the way up to New York, where most of Puerto Rico actually lives. So you've got all these different flavors of Hispanics, and to varying degrees, they may rub people the wrong way. So you go to a place like Texas, and I was actually down in Texas, this was maybe a couple of years ago now, and I was at a city near the border, and one of the dudes I had talked to there, this guy ran some kind of a ranch, right? Like a fucking cattle ranch or whatever you run in Texas. I'm not from fucking Texas. What can I do? But I talked to this guy who runs a cattle ranch, and he's what can you say, Mexican. And he's like, well, I'm Texan. Because as it plays out, this guy's family had been ranching. Check this shit out. This guy's family had been ranching in Texas in that area for like 500 fucking years. He's like, yeah, no, we have a very, very long history. My family specifically, we've been in this area like 500 years. I'm like, shit, really? I was like, well, fuck, that's cool. So like, am I American? Am I Mexican? He's like, dude, I'm Texan. I'm like, all right, knock yourself out, man. It's hard to argue with that. And again, I think this is a spot to reiterate the idea that like, I recognize a cultural difference between him, how he rolls, and me, how I roll. And honestly, coming from California, you know, you actually learn kind of the pantomime of the Mexico-California Mexican, you know, because it's a very different flavor than your, you know, whatever, Texas Ranchero type Mexican with the hat and the boots and that whole fucking thing. It's, you know, you could say they're like Hispanic, okay, whatever, but if you ever interact with them, they're very different people. So in that sense, I'd say like, yeah, I don't want to live next door to you. I'd probably rather live next door to this guy than, you know, the California version of Mexican. But even if I don't especially want to, you know, hey, how you doing today? I don't want to be brothers with this guy. He's not going to fucking bother me as much as your other varieties. Same way though, I don't got to fucking outrightly like, you motherfucker, I don't got to hate the guy. And I don't got to say like, you mooch son of a bitch. Like, no, you've been doing your thing a long time. I'm not going to fucking hassle. You're not hassling me. I'm not going to hassle you. But I can still recognize differences and appreciate differences. And that's fine. And to me, if people want to talk about diversity, that is what fucking diversity is. Yeah, you're not like me. I'm not like you. I'm not going to fucking try to push the way I do shit onto you. And I expect, you know, the same out of you. I don't expect you coming to me with like, oh, that don't be how we do shit and shit up in here. So kind of circling back to the idea of like, yeah, there's a lot of different varieties of Hispanic in this country. You know, you could almost expect that you would see something like, well, yeah, we need to have and here too. I guess as far as I understand it, you could say Hispanic in terms of directly descended from something like people from Spain, right? As opposed to like what Latino, I don't know if this is like just any version of Indio pyramid building type person that's, you know, happens to have resided in South or Central America or having roots therein, whatever the fuck, right? So I don't know, you know, how those people like to be referred to. I don't especially give a shit. I'm just saying I don't know. But, you know, if you were going to see some kind of a, you know, we have to have an awareness kind of thing, if you were going to go for that, maybe that would be a place to start. That like, yeah, most of Puerto Rico lives in New York. Most of Guatemala lives in this country. A lot of Cubans live in Florida. And they're going to actually be a whole lot less welfare favorable than say, than probably Guatemalans in New York, right? Because they want that free shit. Mexicans in California, they want that free shit. They'll work their fucking asses off for nickels. Not saying that it makes it okay for them to be here. Just talking about general state of things, right? So if you were going to push for some kind of, oh, we need to have like, you know, people get fed up with these or they're going to blame them or dislike them or some shit. Well, we should spend tax dollars. I'm making sure that doesn't happen. That would theoretically make sense, right? Because they're a huge fucking percentage of the population here and in a lot of places, an actual majority. I don't know if you've been to San Antonio, Texas. I was there a good long time ago. I spent more than my fair share of time there. And I actually went back there, I want to say less than 10 years ago. I went through there and I was like, what the fuck is this? Sort of makes it feel sort of pointless with the whole Alamo thing, right? Like you're going to fight and die so that what, later on there could be a taco stand across the street? Like what's the fucking point here? What the fuck's going on? But now looking at where do we spend tax dollars? to make sure we could all just get along. Not even make sure that we get along, to make sure you just keep your fucking mouth shut. Where are we going to spend those tax dollars? Oh, well, we're going to focus that on anti-Semitism. Well, fucking why? You're only 2% of the country. You have more resources than anybody else. You're most likely to be a dual citizen. You're the most overrepresented demographic among millionaires and billionaires. Why the fuck do you need special taxpayer-funded representation and for all these people to look out for your interests? Pretty much everybody already knows. Right? If you go out there and you're going to talk shit to some guy and, whatever, you're in a bar and you're fucked up and this guy's I fucking you and you're I fucking him and like that son of a bitch. And now we're just going to fight for no fucking reason. But now you look and he's got his little Star of David hanging around his neck and there. He's like, oh, you sure you want to fight with me? Is that what you want? You want to end up with a hate crime charge? Is that what you want? You're going to think twice, aren't you? You're going to think twice because everybody already fucking knows. These people get treated different. These people get treated special. If you get into it with one of these people, you're going to have to actively demonstrate, I didn't fucking know he was Jewish. He didn't fucking say anything. The bottle of Mogan David in his, in his hand kind of gave it away. But other than that, I had no fucking idea. It's like that fucking Uber driver, right? You seen that Uber driver that was good on him videoing, as he's dropping off this family of grabblers and drops them. Or no, he wasn't dropping them off. He was picking them up. He's picking them up and they're trying to wedge one more person in there. He's like, sir, I don't have space. I can't take you. I don't have seatbelts. It's a law. I can't fucking put you in here. I'll lose this job. And he's like, oh, what was that? Did you say you can't take me because I'm a Jew? Is that what you said? He's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm leaving. Okay, I can't. Oh, well, I'm going to report you. I'm going to say that you can't take me just because you're a Jew. And he says, dude, I can't take you because you have too many people and I can call you another car. We can call another car. We can convoy. No, you said that it was because I was Jewish. He's like, you know what, I'm out of here. But luckily the guy had the thing videotaped, but everybody knows. They're like, you can't say shit to these people. You can't look at them crooked. And yet, here we got this shit that like, oh, we're going to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. If you see that there's 2% of the population that just consistently pisses people off, you're overrepresented among people who get good deals. You're overrepresented among people who cause problems. Maybe if you want people to stop being pissed at you, maybe stop doing the shit that you do. How do people even know it's fucking you? I remember thinking when I was a little kid, this, like, if you were in Germany, back when in the day when you're being pitched this idea that like, yeah, for, no reason at all one day, people just like, let's go and find these fuckers. Right. And I remember thinking, like, how do you go door to door and figure out like exactly who these people are? I mean, is it written somewhere? Or like, I know they didn't have DNA tests, so you got to ask? Or why don't they just, I don't know, get a shave and walk around and act fucking normal? Why don't you do that? They never fucking know. Who the fuck would know? And now you see it's like, well, they can't help themselves. They cannot fucking help themselves. And it reminds me of that... who was that guy? Sam Bankman-Fried, that deal with that Bitcoin, that crypto exchange. And man, when they told him that like, yeah, dude, you fucking juiced every single person that put money into this. Everybody lost money. Some people are flat fucking broke. And a look on this guy's face that was like, hey, like you cannot help yourself. It's like an addiction. It's like an irrational, uncontrollable urge. That you see, a functional society and like, I have to milk this fucking thing dry. Like, dude, you're going to piss people off. People have not fucking forgotten the shit that you've pulled. They're starting to write shit down, right? People are fucking remembering, I cannot help myself, Goy. I need to extract interest. And here we fucking are. So here's this fucking guy with his tiny little hat talking about, you know what? I know you're broke and I know times are hard and I know we're extracting an incredible amount of wealth to set up villas in Spain, but he's got his little fucking hat on, and he's like, yeah, we're going to do this thing, man. I'm going to get in your ass, and your president's going to fucking promote it. The president that you voted for to look out for your interests, talking about, like, when the best you can hope for is like, oh, the working class is going to be represented. Working Americans, the backbone of America, the founding stock. That's the best you could fucking hope for. Because, you're going to imagine in your mind that means somehow, oh, he's secretly talking about white people. He just can't say it because the Dems will cancel him. Dude, you're the fucking president, man. And I'll tell you, after working, in some scenes, like you start to get it into your head that like there are a fuck ton of layers between, even if you're working like a national level program, right? Because I worked on some shit that was like reading national level, and it was like there are a lot of fucking layers between you and that guy that's saying, yeah, go ahead and do this thing. So like when somebody says like, whether it's like Obama going to get fucking bin Laden or some kind of shit, which for my money was horsecock anyway, another time. Anyway, so even if it's something like that, it's not Obama that's looking at the documents, that's, watching the video painstakingly and comparing it to notes and comparing it to other photographs and analyzing radio traffic. And like, I think, my spidey sense is telling me this is probably the guy. Let's take a look at the latest. Is the guy still on target, or where are we at here? He ain't fucking doing that. He's got guys that report to him, these generals and admirals and what have you. And those generals and admirals and whatnot have colonels and all kinds of people that are getting reports from people who are getting information and analyzing it and putting it together into a comprehensive product. And that stuff is coming from some nug on the ground, and that stuff is coming from somebody whose bright idea it was to put this together. So it's all of this shit, and then it's getting filtered up here, and it's this guy making the fucking decision like, yeah, okay, let's fucking go with this. So when I look at a situation like this fucking rabbi bullshit, man, I got to look at this and say like this fucking system is infected all the way from the fucking grassroots level. These motherfuckers have their hooks in everywhere. They have their hooks in from your man on the ground saying, yeah, these people, they're kind of fucking pissed. They have their hooks in to saying like, okay, when we start presenting this in DC, what's the data we need to focus on? What's the information that matters? And when that gets filtered up to the person that's going to walk into the room with the president and say, hey, this 2% of the population feels really short-dicked. They feel like they need something special. We need to stand up an entire task force to combat people not liking them. And then this fucking guy says, okay, let's do it. I mean, how do you fucking look at this and go, well, I think just the next time what we need to do is we need to get one of our guys in there. We need to get one of our guys on the ticket, and we need to start talking about, how do we start making changes? Like, dude, I don't think it works like that, dude. I don't know that it works that way. I don't think it fucking is going to happen. It's for my money. And hey, again, I'll come to why I'm caveating this later on, but I hope I'm fucking wrong. I hope I'm totally fucking wrong. Like, look, Coffee, see, all we had to do was just vote a little harder. See, we just had to get the right place, the right people in the right spot. We just had to shine a little light on some of the shenanigans, and we had to get this Doge situation, defunding some of this bullshit, and everything was going to work out. See, everything's fine. Okay, I will believe it. I'll believe it when I fucking see it. Because right now, I don't fucking believe it. And quite honestly, I think that the American populace is either one, being smoke-screened with simply too much shit to filter through, or two, just too stupid to fucking grasp it, or quite possibly three, that you have been worked. Well, not you so much if you're listening to this, but the average Joe has been worked so hard since he was a child that he has to look at this and say, man, I don't know which way is up. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what is a lie. I can't make heads or fucking tails of this. And what kind of brought this to my attention was this guy, what the fuck was this guy's name? Like, I want to say Khalil Muhammad. This guy was a student at, I think it was Columbia, high-end school in New York. And again, I think that was the guy's name, and that's where he was. In any case, the guy was here bunny ears legally. The guy got caught making statements in public that he had an issue with Israel and that to some degree or other he supported Hamas's action against Israel. Okay. I'll caveat this, man. I will say that, like, I don't think he should be. I want to live in a country where a person like this is actively excluded. I don't like the idea of, there's not a place. Like, if I had ever applied to Columbia, I would have probably not got in. Like, I could have good grades, I could have whatever, but bottom line, you're a fucking white dude. You're not going to play ball, so you can go fuck yourself. I do not want you here. This dude can get in, though. Chinese kids can get in. Jewish kids can definitely get in. Me, I would never fucking get in. So I don't like the idea of people like this ever having anything or doing anything in our country, especially when it's going to push some white kid out of the way. Like, your kid can't go to school because this kid's going. Well, how come what? No spots? No, what? My kid's not smart enough? Oh, he is. It's just that, fuck you. That's all. So that's where I'm at on that. With that said, all right, and I've mentioned this before, but I think it bears repeating from a different angle. You have to ask yourself, well, so what then, according to the rules that are on paper right now, the rules that, hey, I don't like, but they're your fucking rules. The rules that are there right now, this guy didn't do anything wrong. This guy is here legally. This guy is here doing what he said he was doing. He's not here running his uncle's gas station. He's not here selling weed or what the fuck ever. This guy is here going to school doing what he said he was going to do. The only problem here is that he said something that you don't like. Did he riot in the street? No. Was he someplace, unlawfully assembled? Was he outside some senator's house raising a ruckus at 2 a.m.? Not that I'm aware of. Was he destroying property? Did he peacefully protest with a little flames included? Did he fiery but mostly peaceful protest or some kind of shit? No, not so far as I'm aware. So far as I'm aware, all the guy did was make a statement in public that he supported what Hamas was doing against Israel. And now, as I'm seeing today, some Supreme Court or other, I don't know if it was the federal Supreme Court or just a state Supreme Court or exactly what, but some court has ruled that, Trump administration can remove this guy. So again, this is from all the way at the grassroots level where somebody could have just said, dude, the feds don't need to hear about this. This doesn't need to be escalated. We don't like what you're saying, or you're a visitor. Maybe don't be an asshole. Just go back to fucking class, guy. It could have been stopped at that. Even if he didn't want to, can you really stop him according to the laws that are there now? I don't really see how, right? Because he's not really breaking any laws. But what we're seeing now is that some Supreme Court or other, some court has ruled that, he could be lawfully removed. He could be kicked out of the country. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. Because Israel don't like what you're doing. Now, I see a lot of, so let me back up a little bit. So why this fucking matters to us is that if the rules don't fucking matter, then what does that mean for you? If you get caught out at a bar somewhere saying, this business of like us paying billions of dollars every year to fucking Israel, I don't like that. I'm glad these fucking Hamas guys are doing what they're doing. You say this in public, now what? What's that mean for you? Well, that's a free fucking country. I could say what I want. This is what I think. Well, not so fast, dude, because look, over here we deported a guy for this shit. Well, we can't deport you because you're a citizen here, but what can we do? Maybe we make it so you need to report for, I don't know, political re-education every day at noon so that it's not going to really be possible for you to hold down a job. Maybe we do that. Maybe we fine you for, I don't know, public disturbance. Maybe we fine you for fucking thought crime, what the fuck ever. Does it really matter? What? Fine you for pissing me off. Maybe it's a mental health issue. Maybe you're, anybody who wouldn't support Israel or would support a terrorist organization like Hamas, maybe they're actually mentally unwell and they need to be monitored for 24 to 48 hours. I hope you didn't have a work shift in between there. Hope you didn't have rent due. Hope you didn't have something you had to do. You got kids? Maybe you need to be monitored, kind of like the UK. Like maybe your kids aren't going to be allowed to see you for a little while because you're a mentally unwell person and you're connected to a terrorist organization. What connected how? Oh, well, connected as in you've expressed material support. Who would express material support who didn't have some kind of connection? I guess you would. I guess we'll have to find out. Maybe a little investigation is in order. You could look at this and say, like, well, no, that's fucking crazy. That would be against the law. Well, where's the law that says you can't speak in public about something and just get fucking deported over it? So I'd already mentioned that, but the kind of follow-on to this was when I said it the first time, I really thought that people would look at it and say like, well, yeah, no shit, dude. Like that sort of goes without saying. And, we'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to make too much of a stink because I don't want this guy in the country anyway. That's kind of what, I thought normal people would say. That's what I expected. But what I've seen since is just these, fucking Ameritard fucking boomers just hollering about, see you later. That's what you fucking get, man. You respect the red, white, and blue. And I'm like, dude, do you not see the fucking writing on the wall, Holmes? Do you not fucking see what this means for you? Like, what does it mean when they don't like what you're saying? Oh, man, but I'm a citizen, bro, and that would be against. I got fucking Constitution, bro. Fucking First Amendment, bro, and the First Amendment's protected by the Second Amendment. Yeah, both of which you will get fucking hammered for even suggesting that you have a part of. Like this business of walking down the fucking street with your gun in D.C. Oh, I got fucking Second Amendment, bro. Dude, you are putting a fucking target on your back like no other. What the fuck are you thinking? I actually saw, and I guess, you could make the argument that like, oh yeah, that's Europe, bro. That would never be here. It inches along, man. It inches along. It's like that saying with the fucking, with the camel with his nose getting into your tent. Don't let a camel put his nose in your tent because pretty soon it'll be the whole camel, right? So I saw a video of this guy in Belgium, and he's talking about like, yeah, I have to walk into court because of a meme that I posted 4 years ago. And guess what? When I'm done with that, I got to go back in a few weeks for memes that I didn't even post, but I guess that I just liked like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Fucking memes, dude. And he's like, meanwhile, up the coast here, people are raping people are murdering people with machetes. Nobody's going to do shit about that. You can do whatever you want, but I have to walk in here because memes. And, you shake your head, you laugh, oh my gosh, yeah, how fucking crazy. Well, how far are we from that over here? Where right now, you could say what you want, you could post what you want, but who's to say they're not keeping track of that shit? Who's to say that, yeah, remember that time that you said this shit in public? Well, yeah, we're not going to kick you out of the country, but here's where we're at on this. It blows my mind that people are so fucking stupid. And yeah, dude, I realize it. Everybody everywhere with a political opinion is like, I can't believe other people are so fucking stupid. Yeah, I will say that in this case. Usually I would decline to say that, I think, because, people got their perspectives. They got their little things they're focused on. They've got what they've always been told. Maybe they don't know any better. But in this case, when you've fucking seen it, you know what these fuckers are like. You know what these fuckers will do. It would take 5 fucking minutes and look historically. The people who control this country, look at how they've dealt with opposition in the past. Look what they've done in Eastern Europe. Look at the kind of shit they helped stand up in China and Southeast Asia, in countries that leaned communist. Look how hard they come at you. Look how fast they'll just shoot you in the fucking head and disappear your ass. You know they'll do this shit. So what do you fucking think? You think they just stopped? You think they just like, yeah, that's actually not nice. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Fuck no, they're going to do that. They're going to do that every fucking time. So your question has to be then, looking at this is not what the fuck is this about, or not, fuck you, Muslim, get the fuck out of my country. Your question needs to be like, all right, dude, where's my fucking line in the sand going to be? Because if you don't have one, man, as we've seen, if you don't have some kind of line in the sand, guaranteed they're going to be fucking coming for you at some point. You see the precedent getting set in England and the UK, France, Europe, the whole fucking deal. You see the precedent being set where you're not allowed to say a fucking word about these people. Well, somebody got raped. Oh, that's unfortunate. They were raped by who? Teens, unfamiliar people, fellow commuters. But you can't say dirty immigrant Muslim types. You can't say this shit. If you say this, then that's your ass. And how far are we behind that? Not too fucking far. So looking at the situation, I could see where if somebody was unwilling to unwind some of the shit that they had believed their entire life, was unwilling to walk back and question some of the things that you've heard since you were a child, that like, these are good guys, these are always little victims, they never do anything. These people over here, they're just like you. If you were unwilling to walk that back, how fucking confusing would the world be, man? It would have to be fucking baffling. I just saw this other story that a Russian court had just approved seizure of, I think it was $295 million in JP Morgan Chase assets. So, looking at something like that where you see your Trump talking about, yeah, we're going to have talks. We're going to have talks with Putin. I'm going to get in there with Putin. We're going to straighten things out. And then you start to actually see something that more or less resembles progress on this Ukraine thing. But then you see something like this, like you got to scratch your head and like, dude, the world is so confusing to me. I don't understand which way is up. Who's the bad guys? Who's the good guys? What am I supposed to think here? And at the end of the day, they're going to be able to just come to you and say, like, it don't matter. Give me your shit. Hand over your daughter. Hand over your son. You're going to fight for Israel. And you'll just say, okay, because I don't know what the fuck else to think here. I don't know what the fuck to make of this. And a prime example of that, I think, is what I wanted to hit on, I guess, more or less kind of hard this week. I wanted to revisit this Scott Payne guy, this guy that wrote this book, Pale Horse. And if you didn't listen to the last one or you aren't familiar or not sure what I'm talking about, this guy, Scott Payne, was a former FBI, I guess, undercover operator type. And this guy had infiltrated the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, which I guess is a Northeast type of a gig. I want to say like Chicago to, Northeast. Imagine fucking riding a motorcycle all the time out there. I'd be pissy too, man. What that would suck. Anyway, so this guy penetrated this organization, wrote a book about it, as so many of these guys do. And then I guess he had some other issues where he penetrated some, and according to him, like says he penetrated numerous white nationalist organizations and chat rooms and such. But the only one that he really spoke about was the base. / Atomwaffen, which I wish I had specifics on it because I remember hearing about it when it happened, but I don't have the specifics in front of me. If somebody's got it, man, please post it up. But this, I guess, was heavily infiltrated, and not just by this guy. Like, this thing was honeypotted as fuck, like an absolute fed product. Like, this thing was designed to suck you in and, hey, let's do some stupid shit. And not really, I guess, to suck in ideological people. More like to suck in just disgruntled dipshits. But more on that later. So I had, like I said, somebody had sent me this guy, this Scott Payne guy, being interviewed on Joe Rogan. And I listened to the whole thing because I was like, what's this guy's fucking deal, And some of it was, it's kind of corny and it's kind of, I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, I'll listen to, you send me a fucking podcast and I'll listen to like, there I was, bro, about to get fucking killed, bro. I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to this. What's going on? But I listened to this whole fucking thing. And by the end of it, like the takeaway for me was like, I don't completely know if this guy is telling a true story in any direction. Like whole chunks of this, to me, sound made the fuck up. As with a lot of these FBI, there I was amongst the gangsters cutting it real smooth, right? It's always this deal of like, oh, no, I never pimped them to go do this shit or that shit, or no, I ran everything real fucking clean, and oh, I just walked between the raindrops, bro, and they're like, I don't know, passing fucking whatever drug of choice around, like, yeah, we're going to do this shit, we're going to get fucked up, we're going to go fight these fucking guys. Oh, yeah, but I just coughed, and I threw it over my shoulder or whatever the fuck, and nobody ever noticed, and that's how I run my shit real clean, bro. And like, yeah, okay, guy, I'm not completely buying it, but these stories are rife with this shit. And I remember a good few years back, there was, I had read one of these accounts called Out Bad, and it was, I can't remember which angle it had been written from. I want to say it was written by a club guy, somebody that was in the Mongols, and he had written this thing about this, I want to say Fed of some variety, that had tried to penetrate their club and had gotten in pretty far, but just some of the shady shit that they would pull. And this guy was talking about like, it's fucked up. Like in retrospect, I guess the way it worked out was that they kind of figured out who it was and they were like, hey, you're fucking out. Get the fuck out of here. Don't come around no more. But the way that this guy was talking was that, look at the fucking tapes, even going to trial, like look at the shit that they're bringing in here. It's this fucking guy. Like everybody else in the room is like fucked up or just trying to hang out or get drunk. And it's this fucking guy talking about like, hey, we should fuck those guys up, man. Somebody should fucking do something, man. Like, bro, I bet, I know this guy. If we could come up with like some stolen whatever the fuck, I know this guy that could move it. And these guys are trying to hang the fuck out, but this guy's got, he's got a quota to make. Like, he's got to make this funding justified. And, he wants that fucking promotion or whatever the fuck he's bucking for. So he's in there shilling, dude. And like, come on, come on, come on. And he's like, look, you can see the fucking tape. It's right fucking here. Look, there's a guy right there. And he's got stills of it. This guy's sitting on the couch. He's all fucked up. That guy's passed out. He's not going anywhere. And this guy's the one up and around. And when I read accounts like that, and you could say like, yeah, this guy's got his version. The other guy's got his version. And maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Well, who's fucking out here on the nationwide book tour, right? Who's out here shilling this thing? So this guy, circling back, to this Scott Payne situation. I'll say I don't know the guy, never met the guy. Listening to a couple of his interviews, I listened to 2 full podcasts of what this guy was putting out, one short piece that somebody had put up, and then I had started trying to listen to his book because his book is free on Spotify. So obviously not doing real fucking well, right? Because like, yeah, buy my book, buy my book. Fuck, nobody's buying my book. Here, just listen to it for free, man. And then maybe he's going to write another one, probably going to write another one later on. What I found was initially interesting, I guess. Well, I started listening to this book, and I'll tell you why I think it's free, because it's basically unlistenable. It's pretty much every, I don't know, I want to say like just canned broke dick phrase that's like, dude, like just talk like a normal fucking person, man. And I'll tell you, I mean, I ain't spoiling anything by telling you this shit. Like this guy's deal was like his first undercover, here, I'll be him. My first undercover job was when I was still in high school. I had done some silly shit in my time, and I had been called into the vice principal's office, who had showed me a video of me fucking around. Instead of yelling at me like I thought he would, we both just laughed at how silly I was, and I realized my error of my fucking ways or whatever, and this kind of shit. So this bullshit goes on where now the vice principal, well, the deal was this guy was in a talent show, allegedly with like shitty high school band, and he's grabbing his crotch. So he gets called into the vice principal's office. He shows him a video of it. They both just laugh. And then the vice principal says, somebody actually spray painted some shit on my house. And I guess he was, I can't remember what he was. I want to say he was a black dude. Somebody spray painted some racial shit on my house. And I think it was like egged his house or TP'd his house or some shit. And I wonder if you could ask around, and if you see anything, maybe let me know. This is this guy's fucking story. This is what he says. So, I mean, I didn't fuck around too much in high school. I did end up in a vice principal's office once or twice for low-level fucking around shit. Nothing major. But thinking back to my thought process as a kid, and then this guy's thought process as, an adult, I'm having trouble picturing a scenario where you're in here to get your ass chewed, you're in here to get straightened out, and the next thing you know, this guy's asking you to go and go and find out who did this dastardly deed. I'm going to say I don't completely believe you. I'm going to say maybe you were pals with him before, you were kind of a kiss ass, you did something silly, he called you in here and you guys laughed about it, haha, and then this came up because you were already friends. Or if the guy thought you were enough of a fuck up, which it doesn't sound like you were, he would have asked, like, you didn't have anything to do with this shit that went on in my house, did you? No, man. But I'll let you know if I hear something. And then this guy promptly goes out, beating the bushes, figuring out for fucking nothing, right? Just takes it on himself. I'll go out here, keep my ears open at parties, kind of float in and out of different social groups and see if I could figure out who is behind this. So now his story, again, his story here, without this guy ever saying, yeah, I did that, he just happens to notice that every time this thing comes up, there's one kid that kind of looks away, doesn't say nothing, and clams up. I bet it was him. So this guy goes back and is like, yeah, it was this fucking guy. That was my first job. That was my first job as an undercover, and I guess he just saw potential in me that I hadn't seen yet myself. So I could kind of see where, like, yeah, dude, nobody's paying money for this book because this sounds like fucking horsecock. This sounds like some absolute bullshit where you're making up a kind of a fucking sugar-coated version of you basically just being a fucking narc, where people are being cool to you and you're just kind of like, yeah, dude, let me see what I can get you on. So this guy goes on to talk about his experience with the biker clubs and this shit, and then he talks about his experience with white nationalist groups, or what he calls white supremacist groups. And kind of the stepping off point for me, I guess, is that this dude, I mean, I could see a video of him, but that doesn't always help me too much. But that this dude is actually appears to be a pretty big fucking guy. So the way he's talking, he's like 6'3", 6'4", goes about 250, 260. So this is a big motherfucker. And he's not a fat guy, right? Because if he was like just a dumpy, like obese guy, you could be like, well, what fucking ever, okay, you're obese, congratulations. But he's a pretty thick dude and jacked and fucking lifts and this kind of thing. Along with, I guess he's probably been a bigger kid his whole life and probably pretty thick. So he's grown up with a good deal of confidence, where this guy has no problem, like just rolling up and making friends. And I think at this point, you kind of have to take an appreciation for the fact that even though there are, in our society now, there are laws in place that you don't just go up and crack somebody in the head and take what you want, right? There's still a thing where people respect size and physical power, right? So just like, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not, usually, historically, the taller presidential candidate will win. People just naturally respect that. The taller, more looming, larger, physically more capable person, people are going to respect that. It's just hardwired into your lizard brain. So this guy, basically, this guy is probably, I'm guessing, just kind of sailed through life, right? He's the big dude. He's the kind of jack dude. He's the I'll describe myself. I'm just kind of happy-go-lucky. I'm happy to talk to everybody. That's how this guy fucking talks about himself. The situation here is now these biker dudes see him, and granted, yeah, these are criminal organizations largely and for the most part. My interaction with them was the top level 1% clubs. These are by and large criminally focused organizations where they were criminally focused on moving guns, drugs, stolen property, trafficked persons, this kind of thing. In Canada, I heard about some stuff because I did some work up there, and I had talked to a guy that owned a restaurant where this guy was getting outright extorted, straight protection racket. This guy opens a fucking restaurant, nightclub type scene, in one of those sections of a downtown where this is a restaurant, but then it turns into one of these hoity-toity, bitches dress up so you can buy them free shit, this kind of place. And first day this guy opens, he gets a visit from a well-known motorcycle club talking about, hey, we keep everything on the level on this street, so this is what you're going to pay us every week, and that's the news. And it was no bullshit, dude. They were serious, yeah, you fucking pay, dude. Pay or bad shit happens. So, yeah, this is, and again, I ain't speaking to every single person. There are guys in clubs, in what you'd call three-piece clubs, where you look at the back of a cut of a leather vest and you see three components of it, where there's the name, the location, and then the logo and a little patch that says MC, Motorcycle Club. Usually the way that's structured is kind of a recognition symbol for this is a no shit club, we run this area, and whatever their bottom rocker is that's got the location. So if it says LA or San Diego or fucking Chicago or whatever, then they're kind of claiming that area, or at least a section of that area, as this is our spot, we run it. It don't really take too long, I guess, to figure out though, if you're going to do crimes and you're going to have identification right fucking on you, maybe this isn't the best idea, right? So the motorcycle club thing, I think it has kind of ebbed and flowed, because it's kind of hard to get away with anything when you're that blatant. But there were also, there were clubs that were what you call support clubs, or what some dudes call bitch clubs, where it's you'll do some of the low-level hustling, and you'll be protected from on high, but you do the low-level hustling, and if something goes wrong, you're going to take the heat for it, but you're also going to have protection to, get more involved. So you're not going to get fucked with by somebody else trying to come and fuck with you. You're going to be able to make some money on your own. So this is a structure that you'd see through criminal organizations throughout the world. This is something that we saw in Southeast Asia where the kidnap for ransom thing was pretty big, where lower level organizations would kidnap and then pass the person up or pass some of the money up. And then if it got fucking weird, that lower level organization would take the hit. But also if it became where you managed to kidnap a high level or high visibility enough person, like say a nurse from America or a bunch of doctors from UK or something, now that's going to be like embassy level involvement. And those low level guys aren't cut out for that. So they'll pass that up to a higher level organization. And now you're going to get a shit ton of money. You're going to get a cut of it. Like if it had gone wrong, you would have fucking hung. But it didn't go wrong. You pass these people off. That high level organization is going to give you a bunch of money. They're going to negotiate with the embassy and everybody's going to get paid. So that's just kind of the ebb and flow of that. But this biker organization thing, this guy got in with the Outlaws then, and for him, easy day, right? Because you're a big dude. 2, you're an outgoing dude. 3, you don't have a criminal record. And that is something that he neglects to fucking mention. Because any of the interactions that I ever had with these people, and like granted, like the way my interactions went, it was like they knew I was in the military. They knew I was a special ops guy. So it was like, I know this guy doesn't have a criminal record, and I know he can be counted on, and I know he has some capabilities he could probably pass on or teach to guys here. The not having a record component of this is fucking huge in that world. Because now you're a guy that they can, like, you're going to do this shit. You're going to carry this shit. I don't know you fucking have it. You're going to go and meet with that guy. You're going to go pick up this stuff. All of this shit is going to fall on you because you're fucking clean still. You could take a lot of hits before you're fucked. But this is why they're recruiting the way they do. So when they got this guy, I think really wants to kind of, man, he talks about how humble he is, like constantly telling you, man, oh, a lot of people did a lot harder stuff than me, man. A lot crazier stuff than me. I'm just a guy out here. I'm the one willing to talk about it is all. But this dude, kind of fails to put some of the credit where it's due, I think, and say like, yeah, dude, it was easy for me to get in because when they do run a background check on me, and they do, at that level, at that 1% level, they've got people. Like they're going to be, somebody's banging some girl at the DMV. Somebody is banging some girl that works at whatever, the local police station. Somebody's got somebody paid off somewhere. These are fucking facts. So a background check is going to happen. And when they find out, like, yeah, this dude doesn't have a fucking record at all. He's a fucking clean citizen. He just happens to be hanging out here, wherever we're hanging out. In this case, I guess it was a strip club. So he's hanging out here. And yeah, hooray for me. I'm getting in with these guys. Of course you're fucking getting in with them, man. You're fucking like picture fucking perfect, right? No record, jacked, fucking outgoing, and apparently, and I'm sure willing to fight. Like, do not fucking try to tell me that this dude went out and didn't beat the shit out of anybody ever. Like, I know you fucking did with an organization like that. But again, like he'll pitch you this clean cut fucking deal. So shifting over when he starts talking about like that whole thing, when he's talking about the club thing, he's talking like there's some genuine regret. Like he genuinely regrets, I think, some of the guys that he rolled up. And he's talking about how close he was to some of the guys. And again, one of these phrases that came up again and again was, one guy that I was real close with, like we were like 2 peas in a pod, man, finishing each other's sentences. We lifted together. And I think all the time, man, like different circumstances. I mean, we might be brothers, working together. And I was like, dude, yeah, we get it, man. You're gay for this fucking guy, but whatever. So talking about the club scene, like he was obviously very close to these dudes. And this is where I think it gets kind of fucked up because a lot of cats in that scene, like these are, some of these are good dudes. Some of these are just hardworking dudes. Some of these are dudes that don't feel like they have any options. Maybe some of these are guys who did time and are like, I don't really have anything except what I know how to do already. It is what it is. But for the most part, like these are fucking hard characters. Like these are hard fucking dudes. These are fucking criminal types, dude. These are motherfuckers that will bury you someplace. These are not fucking lightweights. So when I hear this guy talking about how cool he is with them, and now he starts talking about white nationalists, or again, in his words, white supremacists, man. He's fucking white supremacist, bro. It's like a fucking cartoon. Like this guy goes straight into it, and according to him, he tried to penetrate or did penetrate several white nationalist chats, organizations, groups, several meetups. The only one he really talked about was the Atomwaffen thing, which again, I don't have the inside baseball on that, but as I understand it, like this was an organization of absolute fuck-ups designed deliberately to be an organization of absolute fuck-ups. Like this thing was, again, as I understand it, as I had heard it, like this thing was like Fed sponsored to suck in some of the shittiest people you can find and basically paint it like, look, this is what white nationalism gets you, like a bunch of screwballs, a bunch of secret closet gay dudes shooting at each other. This is what it is. And this dude was right on top of it. But the way this guy talked about it, though, was this guy had no problem stepping right up and saying, like, yeah, dude, all of them, these white supremacists. And again, dude, I don't know how many times I've heard when people say white supremacists, I'm like, dude, I'm never the one saying, like, we should be ruling these fucking people. We should be calling the shots and they should be doing my bidding. And no, if you want to talk about supremacy, I mean, you got your Jewish population to look at. These people fucking run this fucking country and they're still complaining like they want to tighten you up if you've got an opinion about it. Tell me that's not supremacism. What do we fucking talk about? We just want to be fucking left alone. And that's what's crazy about this guy is he's talking about like, yeah, some of these guys are talking about these crazy ideas. Like some of these guys think the world's flat. Some of them think the world's hollow. Some of them think there's like 10-foot tall Hyperboreans just waiting to come to the surface. And I'm like, dude, you don't really get the meme jokes, do you? Like it's funny because we pretend it's true. There might be some fucking kooks out there. I don't know. I mean, there's people out there that think a lot of shit. There's people out there that think they're Napoleon. And maybe there's people that think the world actually is flat. But the gags I've seen has only ever been like, it's funny because you're pushing it and somebody like questions you on it. Like, you really think that? Now it becomes funny because now you're saying, yeah, dude, totally. Don't you fucking get it? Now it's fucking hilarious, but the joke's on you, dickhead, because you're the one that's not getting the joke. That's why joke is, right? Because ball is bigger than puck. So this guy's running on like some of these guys think this shit, but at the end of the day, man, like here's the thing is that they're just frustrated because, well, you know what an incel is? And I'm like, you got to be fucking shitting me. So the takeaway in all is you got these people over here, these criminals, and you're like, yeah, we could have been like brothers, man. Like I was really close to a lot of these guys. And these people are hardened fucking criminals that have done rotten shit to otherwise decent people. These are facts, all right? And over here, on the other side, you've got white nationalists who, yeah, are there screwballs? Are there incels? Are there fuck-ups? Yeah, just like in any organization. You go walk down to fucking any office building. Hey, are there some cool guys in here? Yeah. There's some hot girls in here? Maybe, yeah. There's some incels in here? Almost certainly, yeah. Does that mean this whole organization is fucked up? No. But this guy, yeah, you got white nationalists. Now, what are these people talking about? According to him, they had, besides flat earth and this kind of shit, they're talking about like, yeah, maybe we stand up our own like autonomous, or they want to move away, live by them, just live separate. And they're talking about places, one guy's talking about Michigan, some guy's talking about West Virginia or something. And I'm like, okay, so tell me how this fucking jives, dude. You want to be supreme and you want to rule over everybody, and yet you want to move the fuck away and be left alone. How does that jive in your head? Well, it doesn't really have to jive in his head because he goes on to say, yeah, most of them just incels, man. They just can't get a girlfriend. And he is talking about this siege thing, which I know these fucks talked about this crazy shit. We're like, oh yeah, we're just going to get our rape on. And I know that was a gag for a while where I can't remember what the chats were. Like some of these fucking skull, whatever the fuck it is, this kind of shit, where some of these guys were doing this kind of talk. And I don't know if it was half serious or half joking or exactly half fucking what. But I mean, yeah, it's fucking retarded. And bro, it's a fucking siege-fed honeypot, dude. What do you think they're going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about Fed shit. They're going to be talking about committing crimes. Well, rape's a crime, so far as I'm aware. But so far as this guy is aware, is like, yeah, that's just an indicator of nobody here can get laid. Nobody here can get a girlfriend. I got a woman, but I ain't going to share her. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? So what kind of set me off about this was what you typically see in white nationalist circles is that these are dudes who are, for whatever reason, frustrated with the way things are, whether that's because you're the smartest fucking guy in the room and you're surrounded by fucking retards, or because you really are kind of a fuck up, you don't have your life together and you can't quite figure out why maybe these guys got answers. but you are surrounded by people who are looking for something better. You are looking for something better, and these are guys who are willing to sacrifice to at least some degree to make that happen. So what does this guy do? Nothing. And he's coming at it from a place of, yeah, dude, life's always been pretty casual for me. I'm the big guy that everybody respects. I'm friendly enough. I don't have any hangups. And, this guy probably hasn't had too many shitty days. This guy probably hasn't ever been like excluded from anything. But now he's got no problem looking at these dudes and like, fuck these guys, right? And his fucking message is, yeah, I'm part of, what the fuck was this organization he's saying he's part of, like Disassemble Hate or some kind of basically like plugging you back into the matrix and like, let's get you back with the program, guy. And I want to ask this dude, like, how many black dudes do you got in that organization? How many Jewish people do you have in that organization? Or is this just an organization for white people to learn how to hate themselves again? Because that's what it sounds like. Because this guy's talking about, nah, man, hate, that just takes up so much energy, man. Nah, hey, you want to put love out. That's the frequency you want. He's one of these fucking clowns. You put love out there, man, and that's what I'm about, man. And I say, put out love. Put away the hate, man. Discontinue the hate. And that's how we all got to move towards the middle. The extreme left or extreme right, that ain't where it's at. We all got to move towards the middle or we ain't going to make it. And I'm like, okay, dude, yeah, in a perfect world where I could say, yeah, you Mexican dude, I don't got a problem. You stay away from me. I'm going to stay away from you. Everything's everything. Hey, soul brother like no other, stay away from me. I'm going to stay away from you. But the people who were killing each other en masse, the people who are bleeding this country dry, the people who will look right at you and say, whatever you have, you owe to me. Your kid shouldn't get to go to college. You shouldn't get this job. You shouldn't get this promotion. I should. Why? Because fuck you. That's why. Because you're white and I'm not. What do you say to those people? Do you say anything to those people? No, it doesn't sound like he does. So to that extent, man, I hear something like this and I'm like, this guy's full of fucking shit, dude. But what I think this draws more attention to is the fact that, like, if you're listening to this and you look at these situations and you've done anything to be part of any kind of a group that's like, yeah, I might catch heat for this. I might get in trouble if I get doxxed. I might have issues at work. My folks might get pissed at me. If you fit into any of those categories, so long as you're a person that's looking at this saying, how can I make society around me function better? How can I be the kind of man that is more attractive to women? What can I do? You're looking for what can I fucking do? Then you're the right kind of fucking person, because this kind of dude, this kind of guy has always had approval from the machine. This guy does the machine's bidding. And this guy is a very effective tool for the machine. And I do mean tool. But this guy is every bit the fucking machine. This guy is more than willing to say, hey, you shouldn't have any kind of an identity. You shouldn't have any kind of a history that you're proud of. You should just figure out a way to get along with these people who will, as you have seen, stab your kid in the heart at a fucking high school athletic event and then try to say it's self-defense. So for my money, you look at a guy like this, stand up fucking straight, man. Stand up fucking tall, because this guy, compared to you, is a fucking coward. All right. And I don't use that word lightly, dude. Where I come from, these are fucking fighting words. Like, you call somebody a coward, like, you better fucking mean it. This guy, full fucking backing of the federal government. Oh, and which also reminded me, this guy did make mention, and he probably got his dick slapped at some point for mentioning this. I ain't going to read all the way through his book and find out for sure. But this guy did mention that he's looking at people in these chat rooms. He's talking to these people in these white supremacist organizations, and he's staying in contact with his worldwide investigative partners. These are his words, worldwide investigative partners. What he's talking about there is he talks to you, he talks to me, whatever. He talks to Coffee Long. Who the fuck's Coffee Long? I'm looking at this chat. It doesn't really look like he's up to anything. Let me contact UK. Let me contact people in the EU. Let me contact people around the world. Let me contact, people keeping an eye on National Socialists in Mexico, because they have that shit. Let me see what these people say. Anybody here know Coffee Long? Because if they do, say somebody in, let's say hypothetically, UK, if I had been in touch with, who is that, National Front, this kind of shit in UK. In the UK, that's designated as a terrorist organization. So now, If I do anything for them, if I say, hey, here's how I set up my chat so that, we screen for feds, or here's how I do interviews to see if guys are worth having on or having out to this little get together. Here's how I do it to sort of rule out any ne'er-do-wells. Okay, at this point, I'm offering material support to a designated terrorist organization. So I would be on a watch list in the UK. This is somebody that offers these guys material support, tells them how to do things, tells them how to avoid us, how to stay safe, whatever. This guy offers them support. He would bounce that back to this guy, to the FBI guy here, and say, yeah, this guy's a material supporter of a terrorist organization. Okay, all I needed to know. So now, instead of just looking at my chat and saying like, well, you don't really say nothing, you don't really do nothing, this guy can go down the rabbit hole on me. Who all does he know? Who has he ever talked to? What kind of places does he go? What kind of things does he buy? And now they could start looking at if this guy has ever done anything that we could call remotely questionable. We can drag this guy in here. And you might say like, oh, no, they would never do that. That seems like a bridge too far. Again, this guy's own fucking words, where there are hotlines and shit set up where he himself says he has had to go out and interview somebody that was referred that thought they were kidnapped by aliens or lizards or some shit and had their eyeballs replaced with some kind of lizard crocodile eyes or some kind of shit. I have to actually go make contact with this person. It's what we have to do. So if they have to do that for somebody is just fucking nuts and talking out of their ass, what do you think they're going to do with you? You think they'll just maybe make contact with you and go, it's cool, sorry to bother you, just checking. You think that's going to happen? Or do you think they're going to watch you from afar for a good long while? Based on everything we've seen so far, and based on the direction everything is going, I would say, yeah, you could count on being looked at for a good long while. So again, I want to reiterate, if you're taking any kind of stand for yourself, any kind of stand for your people, for your history, for your heritage, you are a fucking big balls motherfucker. If you're ever willing to stand up and say, hey, not so fast, you are a brave person. And a guy like this, who's always had it fucking sailing his way, always had full support and funding, fuck this guy. This guy will fucking crumble as soon as the machine wobbles just a little bit. So keep doing what you're doing. I think that said, then next time I want to revisit this Mary Fagan thing, because I'll tell you what, I found the notes to the original podcast I did on that, and the notes were much more detailed, and I was so fucking pissed when it went away and I couldn't find it to repost it, but I did find the notes. So I'll revisit that and I'll talk through some of those things. I won't present it all in its totality, like before, because you could just go back and listen to the one from a year ago and hear all about that shit. But yeah, that should be a good time, because there's nothing like Hebrew child sacrifice to get the blood going. But in any case, I'm gonna get cracking. I got fish to fry. It's starting to warm up outside, and I got chores to do. Got to get things in order. But you, until we talk again, you get out there, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I've been Coffee, and these are my takes.